Good morning everyone. So welcome to Unacademy's YouTube channel. So today we will be discussing about the current affairs. So for the past few days we have been discussing about the current affairs of the month of January. So today we are at the session number 5 of 9th of February 2019. So before we go ahead, I just want to tell you a few points. So I think everyone is very well aware about the Unacademy's new model of Plus subscription. So where about 20 plus top educators will be taking special live classes, and the good thing is that just you have to pay for 1 month or 6 months or 12 months. So based on that, you will get access to different kind of these courses which are being offered by more than 20 plus great educators. And most importantly, even if you miss the class, you can see it offline. So that is the importance of Unacademy Plus. And now I'm taking up 3 courses on Unacademy Plus, which start with the government schemes, where we'll be discussing them ministry wise, and then a course on governance and social justice of a country, and science and technology for UPSC. So these are the 3 courses I'm taking up. So as we are now today in session number 5. Okay, so first and the foremost thing. So 12th of January, it has some greater significance, isn't it? Which is observed as the National Youth Day. Yeah. So good morning everyone. So 12th of January, I think everyone knows it is observed as National Youth Day. Now, what is the importance of this 12th of January and what are we going to discuss today? Now, everyone should have a voice to be heard, isn't it? So that is why we have different kind of people, be it the MLAs or be it the MPs, who will be speaking at different levels of their particular jurisdiction. Now coming to this youth. So youth has a greater potential that was always identified by Swami Vivekananda too, isn't it? Now, this potential has to be used in a proper way. Now the government thought that as these people, the young age people who are aged between 18 to 25 years, they have some greater knowledge, they have some greater skill, they can think in a different way, so which will definitely prosper the country. Now for that particular purpose, the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has launched an initiative called National Youth Parliament Festival. Now what happens as part of this National Youth Parliament Festival? So different kind of youth from different places, be it from different districts, and every district. So from every district of a country, few people will be chosen. And how is that done? So that there will be some process which we will be discussing now. Now, so what happens when we involve youth in different kind of issues? So we have to make them close to the grassroots. We have to make them understand what is the importance of different social issues and how can youth take a special role in that particular solving of that particular issue. So for that is the main reason the National Youth Parliament Festival is being organized 22. So how can this new India be created? So and what is the role should be? What is the role of the youth should be? And what kind of solutions can youth bring in for dealing with this kind of problems? So that is the main objective of this National Youth Parliament Festival, where different youth from different places, irrespective of which state they are from every district, they will be chosen. So there will be some level wise competition which will start right from district level, and then it will go to the state level, and then it will go to the national level. So there will be some competition like this. Okay, those youth who are aged between 18 to 25 years, they'll be participating, debating, and discuss different kind of issues like how can we make a new India. So as I said, we'll be conducting this in 3 levels. So a maximum of 50 best speakers will be chosen. So in a district level, so they'll be taking up 2 kind of things. One is the walk-in, and the other one will be through the online screening. So those who want to apply for this, they can apply online. At the same time, they can also apply through this particular, walk-in also. Now 50 people from this and 50 people from this, so totally 100 people will be chosen. And they'll be asked to speak on a particular topic for a time of 3 minutes. And they'll be speaking about that. And after a few days, they'll be giving the results. And from them, the best 3 speakers from a district level will be chosen and they'll be sent to the State Youth Parliament. Okay, and now after the State Youth Parliament, again the similar concept they will be taking up, and the top best 2 speakers from the state will be sent to the national level youth parliament. Okay, so here they will be discussing different kind of issues, and the National Youth Parliament will happen from 23rd to 24th of February 2019. where the top best 3 speakers at the national level will also be given an amount of rupees 2 lakh, 1.5 lakh and 1 lakh rupees as a token of gratitude. So that is about the National Youth Parliament Festival. Moving ahead with the next topic, that is Namami Gange program. I think everyone knows the basic thing. So what is the purpose of Namami Gange program? So for the past few years, we have been seeing Ganga being polluted. Now government want to counter that. So they have announced a program called Namami Gange in the year 2014. So what do they want to do? So we have to do some things for that. So first and the foremost thing, we have to counter the pollution that is happening. So we have to stop that pollution, and after we stop that, we should focus on how can we conserve the river, and then we have to look towards the rejuvenation of river Ganga. So that is the main reason we have a ministry now, especially for Ganga also. Okay, so what are the different kind of activities they do under the Namami Gange program? So sometimes you may be asked a question in the preliminary like this, like which among the following are the activities which are not covered under Namami Gange program? So from them, you can also able to identify if you know these things. The first and the foremost thing they look after is about how is the sewage treatment infrastructure in their particular cities which are on this particular banks of river Ganga, and then how can we look towards conservation of the biodiversity along the rivers of along the river Ganga, and then we have to create a public awareness, right? If we want to stop the pollution, the first and the foremost thing we have to do is we have to create an awareness to the public, and then we must encourage them to plan for the afforestation activities. Okay, so we have to look towards the industries, and we shall not let the industries waste to be flown into river Ganga. And coming with the Ganga grams, where the few villages will be chosen, like the villages which are present on the banks of river Ganga, they'll be made self-sufficient, and they will be doing different kind of activities like bringing up the proper infrastructure, and many things will be done in this particular villages also. And these are the various activities we do under Namami Gange program. But why are we discussing about the Namami Gange program which was started in the year 2014? Yes, there is something which we have to discuss. That is, recently the Ministry of Urban Development has commissioned an assessment by the Quality Council of India. So this assessment has carried out for a time of about 6 weeks, and this has come up with some some astonishing results which we all have to worry about. So though the government is coming up with such a great initiative, the Namami Gange program, there are some issues we have. For example, there are about 97 towns which are present on the banks of river Ganga, and of this in the 92 towns they have constructed survey, they have did their survey, and these particular towns are present in the states of Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand and West Bengal. These are the 5 states we will be focusing on. Now, of all these 97, so they have focused on 92 towns, and they did their survey. And of this 92 towns, only 19 has a municipal solid waste plant. And you can understand what about the remaining. They are directly making the solid waste. There is no proper management, and there are some cases where that is being mixed with river Ganga, and there are few cases where there is no proper management at all. So only 19 has the solid waste plants, and what about the other? About 92 of 92, only 19 has. So which is something we have to worry about. And then of this 92, 66 towns are directly connecting their drains to river Ganga. So there are about 242 drains in the 66 towns. Of all these 242 drains which are directly directly connecting to river Ganga, even after that we shall make something like screens. So what are the screens now? So generally let's consider this as river Ganga, and now there will be some kind of drains that are being connected from different kind of areas. Now what we do is, in some cases we'll be coming up with the screens. Screens will be like something like a kind of filter. It acts as a filter where it will not allow the waste to enter into river Ganga through that particular drains. Okay, that is the main objective. So almost 85% of these don't have the screens. Okay, now of all these 242, especially we said that 85% do not have screens, right? So that means about 205 drains will be coming into this, and of this 205, 100 towns, like about 100 drains are in the state of West Bengal. And there are few cases where even Bihar has about 30 towns do not have the screens at all. And why? How did they do this survey? Like there are 4 parameters they have taken into consideration. How is the cleanliness initiatives there? How is the solid waste management treatment plans? Looking after the screens which we have just discussed, like filters. And how is the solid waste plant is being utilized? So is there any availability or not? So these are the 4 parameters that are taken into consideration to look into this. Now, so they rank the cities, or they rank the particular towns based on some different grades, like A, B, C, D. So they'll be ranking them like this. So of this, most of the towns which have received the A grade, they have a population of less than 1 lakh people. And you can understand in these 5 states, we have just seen that only those cities which have less than 1 lakh people have got A grade, which makes it very clear that the bigger cities are not under this A grade. There is an exception to one city called Mahestara in West Bengal, but apart from this city, no other city which has got the A grade is having greater than 1 lakh people of population. I mean, look into the towns such as Kolkata, Varanasi, Kanpur, Patna, they have also achieved the lowest scores. So this is about this recent assessment by the Quality Council of India. Moving ahead with the next one. This is an interesting one, that is rare seatbelt usage and child road safety in India. Yes, so coming to this, the thing we have to think about it. How many of you, like while you're traveling in a 4-wheeler, let's take a car. So while you're traveling in a car, how many of you wear, like by sitting on the rear side, that is on the back side, how many of you wear the seat belt? Okay, in the front side, it's like, it's a mandatory thing everyone has to do. But what about the rear end? That is a question, isn't it? So there are very few people who do it. There are very, very few people. So recently, there was a report called Rare Seatbelt Usage and Child Road Safety in India. So this was prepared by the Nissan Motor India and Save Life Foundation. And they have come up with some astonishing results where it said that 90% of the Indians don't wear the rear seatbelts at all. 90% of those don't wear. And when you look to the children now, so when you are going on a 2-wheeler, we may put our helmet for ourselves, and those who are sitting on the back will use that, because based on that particular city conditions and city rules. For example, in a city like Bangalore and few other cities, you have to wear helmet for both the people who are sitting on the back as well as in the front. But in a city like Hyderabad, the backside people need not require any helmet, but the front people need. So, but when this kind of norms are present, there are some cases where, at least 9 out of 10 Indians, they don't let the children to wear either a seat belt, or they will not put a helmet to them. Now, according to some kind of studies, if the children are using a seat belt, that will reduce the risk of a death. In case if any accident happens, the risk of the death will be reduced by 25% and injury can be reduced by 75%. But we know this fact, but in spite of knowing the fact, we don't let that happen. We don't want children to wear that. Forget about the children, even we don't wear it. Isn't it? So now, there was a report by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways in the year 2017, which has said that in 2017, about 53 accidents happen in an hour and 17 deaths are happening in India, which is some of the highest ever in the world. And when you look towards 2017, 9,408 children have lost their lives, especially because of this road crashes, and of this, which makes it very clear that only like about 26 deaths happen every day. Every year in India, about 5 lakh accidents are happening, which is resulting to death of 1,50,000 people, which is one of the highest in the world. Now, what is the problem here? Why are we seeing this many accidents, and why are we seeing this many deaths? What is the problem here? So one of the major problems is the infrastructure. That is the known fact which everyone say. So now, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has been identified some areas like black spots. So black spots here means, for example, those kind of areas where accidents are very frequent. So these areas will be identified as black spots, and they will come up with some of the other kind of solution to those kind of areas. So like, development of the infrastructure or something like that. So according to the World Health Organization's report itself, it says that if you look to the children who are aged between 5 to 14 years, the major cause of this particular death of the children is because of the road crashes. And if you look to the adults 15 to 29 years, even the major cause for that is road accidents. In the world, about 1.2 million people are killed especially every year because of this road accidents. And of all these 1.2 million, 95% are in the low and middle income countries. So this is about the recent report by the particular Save Life Foundation and the report by Ministry of Road Transport and Highways and Global Status Report on Road Safety. So moving further, so I think everyone goes to movies, right? That like, you know, one or the other time, like at least once in a 3 months or 4 months, at least one or the other time we go to movie. Now, one of the major issue which is completely becoming a problem to the Indian film industry is that we know that is piracy, isn't it? So now we have to control this piracy. So for that particular purpose, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has brought an amendment bill to the Indian Cinematograph Act of 1952, where it has said that this will be considered as a punishable offence. So accordingly, just 2 days ago, when the cabinet has met, they have taken a decision to insert a new section called 6AA in the Indian Cinematograph Act of 1952, where it says that if any person is carrying any of the audio or visual device to record a movie or a part of a movie without the permission of the copyright owner, they shall be punishable with an offence of up to 3 years or a fine of up to 10 lakhs or both. So that was recently approved, but this was an amendment which was proposed earlier, and yes, this was approved just 2 days ago. And they have asked for the comments also. So this is just a small amendment to the amendment to Indian Cinematograph Act of 1952. Moving ahead, one of the most important issue about the Project Tiger. So good thing about the Project Tiger is that if you look into all the 13 tiger range countries we have, India is the one which is having the highest tiger population. And yes, we have to control and we have to look towards further enhancing the population of a tiger in the country. So for that particular purpose, in the year 1973, a project called Project Tiger has been started, which is a centrally sponsored scheme of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Now, what is the objective of this Project Tiger? So the main objective is that they want to protect the tigers. They want to protect the tigers as well as that must be done in their natural habitats. So if you can look into this, particularly the man-animal conflict, one of the major issue is that because of habitat loss. Now what happens when they lose their habitat? They have to come into the people, they have come into the society, and that will create a kind of ruckus again. Finally, how one or the other way, we just catch that particular animal and put it in the zoo. But how well are we able to counter this man-animal conflict? And we should focus on bringing up some kind of solutions to the man-animal conflict, something like eco-sensitive zones, which is one of the important concepts, right? So this particular Project Tiger is administered by the National Tiger Conservation Authority. So this National Tiger Conservation Authority is a statutory body. So it was created in the year 2005, but though later on in the year 2006, it was given a statutory status. And one of the important questions you may be asking, you may be asked in the preliminary examination, like, you may be given an option, who among this will be the chairperson of the National Tiger Conservation Authority? So the answer will be the Union Minister for the Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So as part of this National Tiger Conservation Authority, what do? So they release some kind of standards that ought to be followed by the various states in the areas of tiger reserves or some national parks or sanctuaries. And moreover, there will be state level steering committees which will be headed by the state chief minister, and they will be coming up with the state level tiger conservation plans, and that has to be approved by the National Tiger Conservation Authority. Now why are we discussing this? Because recently there was a report, especially in the Ranthambore National Park. So there were some kind of tigers missing. So a report has been sought by this particular National Tiger Conservation Authority from the government of Rajasthan, especially about the missing of the tigers in state of Rajasthan. Okay, that is about the National Tiger Conservation Authority. Moving further, the right to disconnect bill. This is one of the important one, or maybe it will drag much attention. Now, the thing is, I think many of you might be working professionals too. Now, what happens is, so we may be asked to come to the office, like, they will be giving us, login time and log off time. So there will be something like, about hardly 8 hours. But can anyone say that after the 8 hours, after the end of 8 hours, like once you step out of the office, do you get any call from office or not with respect to the work? Anyone? Yes or no? Yes, that is yes for majority of the cases, isn't it? Now, the thing is, when we keep on doing like this, what happens? The person will lose his personal life balance with that of professional life, where the professional life is claiming the authority over the personal life of a person. So according to many reports, there are many people who are even being asked for different kind of thing, either by calls, text or mails, to do some of the other work from the office. So now ultimately the person is losing a kind of balance between his professional life as well as a personal life. So recently a private member bill has been brought up by an MP, that is the right to disconnect bill. So what exactly this bill talks about? Now, this gives a right to those employees that they cannot, so they need not require to respond to the calls or text or any kind of communication from the employer once they leave the office. So this is an interesting one. Once they leave the office, they need not require to respond to the calls, text or mails. And you may ask me, if we don't reply, if we don't respond to the calls, again there will be some kind of disciplinary action. You may be asking that, right? So now they made it very clear that there will be a committee, employee welfare committee will be present, which will look after whether this particular bill is being implemented or not. So though it is a private member bill, just it is very, very important, because there are many countries which have been implementing too. And now this says that any company which is having an employees of more than 10, so more than 10 employees are present, then this particular company has to follow this right to disconnect bill. Okay, so now what happens? Ultimately the balance between the person's personal life as well as the professional life will be back. And there are few countries like France has been implementing this since 2017, where there is a condition that company which has an employees more than 50, they have to implement it. And Spain also implementing that, but there is no limit of employees. And there are few companies in Germany. That is an interesting thing. Like when an employee is in a vacation, if you send a mail from the office, automatically that email gets deleted. This is an interesting one. Automatically that gets deleted. So these are the various things with respect to the right to disconnect bill. Moving further with the next one, that is the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. So Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, why do we observe this? So observe this in every alternate year, that is once in every 2 years on 9th of January. That is the standard date why we choose. There is a reason for that. So why do we observe this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas? We may say they are Pravasi Bharatiyas, but we cannot assure, they have been doing a greater work with respect to the development of Indian community also. So this is observed once in every 2 years. The first ever Pravasi Bharatiya Divas happened in the year 2003, and there is other importance to this. This is the day, that is on 9th of January in the year 1915, Mahatma Gandhi has returned back to India from South Africa. So that is why we observe this as a Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, which is organized by the Ministry of External Affairs. But for the year 2019, this year, it was happened at 21st of January, and there is a reason for that. This year, we have two important things. So the main reason is that the Pravasi Bharatiyas, or we can say the Indian diaspora, has requested the government to change the date, because on 24th they want to attend Kumbh Mela and 26th they want to attend Republic Day parade also. So that is the reason this time they have asked for change in the date. And the role and the theme for this is role of Indian diaspora in building a new India. Just now we have spoke about what is the importance of a new India, what shall be the role played by the youth in the National Youth Parliament Festival. Now this is the theme again. So the only concept is we want to see a new India. We want to see a developed India rather than seeing a developing India since our childhood. So as part of this, few topmost people who have done some exemplary work in their field, and which has brought some kind of recognition to Indian government or India as a country, then they will be awarded with the highest honor for the NRIs, or highest honor for the diaspora, that is Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award will be given to those particular people. Okay, that is about the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. And moving on with the next one, that is Hunar Haat. So what is this Hunar Haat? So we often hear something like, self-help groups will be coming up and they'll be having a marketplace, something like that. So Hunar Haat is similar to that. So where these are the exhibitions which are organized by the Ministry of Minority Affairs. This is important. So Ministry of Minority Affairs is the one which will organize this Hunar Haat. Now what happens is, at these kind of exhibitions, the different kind of people across the country, they have different talents, they have different weaving skills or different kind of skills. So maybe the craft skill of them. So all these people will be brought together at a single place, and at this particular place, all these will be brought together and they will be showing as a kind of market for them, which will create a kind of market for these particular people and benefits at least lakhs of people through this, where different kind of arts and crafts which are present in almost 29 states of the country all will be coming under one roof. That is the importance of this. So this will provide employment opportunities for different kind of people, and moreover it is estimated that about 1,62,000 artisans and few others are dependent on Hunar Haats. Moving further, the death of the elephants. So yes, so we often see this kind of issue. This is mostly because of there are many cases. First one is the electrocution of the elephants. This is one of the important reason, and the other one is about the accidents. So these are the two major causes for the death of the elephants in the country. Now, just now we have seen, we have seen about the Project Tiger. What is the need of conserving the tiger and other things. So we have seen about the Project Tiger. So now this is about the death of elephants. So recently, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has come up with a report which stated that in the 3-year span, that is 2015 to 16, 16 to 17 and 17 to 18, during this years, about 49 deaths of elephants have been happened, especially because of the railway accidents. Only because of the railway accidents, 49 elephants have been died. And of this 49, 37 are from two states which are West Bengal and Assam has recorded the highest number of deaths because of the railway accidents, that is 27 deaths. In the year 2016, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has come up with some kind of measures like how can we deal with this kind of accident. So they want to deal with the human-animal conflict and protect these particular animals. So that is the report which that is in the year 2016. They have come up with a document and they were working on that particular aspect even now. And yes, as we have seen just few days ago in states like Odisha, there was an electrocution of elephants where many elephants are being dead. So between the years 2009 to 2017, about 461 elephants have been electrocuted. So you can understand 461 elephants in this time span. So in order to deal with this kind of thing, similar to the Project Tiger, we have another project called Project Elephant, which was launched in the year 1992. What is the objective of this? So states will be coming up with different kind of objectives where they will be coming up with different kind of initiatives. So this particular people will be provided with the financial and technical support from the Ministry of the Environment, Forest and Climate Change. I think everyone knows about elephant corridors, right? So generally we have the habitats of elephant. For example, this is a habitat, this is the habitat, this is a habitat. Now what is the elephant corridor is? Elephant corridor is nothing but a small passage which is connecting the elephant habitat. So which will be used by the elephants from moving from one habitat to the other habitat. But there were many violations even there, where even this particular elephant corridors are being they are threatened by different kind of people. That is one of the major issue too. So this Project Elephants exclusively focus on providing the financial as well as the technical support to those particular people or their states which are working for the betterment and conservation of the elephants. Okay, they're not just focused on the elephants protection, but protecting their habitats as well as their elephant corridors too. Now we have to address the man-animal conflict. That is one of the major thing, right? So what might be the issues for the man-animal conflict? So first and the foremost reason is, firstly, like any conflict in order to be started, firstly, the area or the habitat of that particular animal is getting destroyed. Destroyed is nothing but shrinking. Now when the habitat of an animal shrinks, what happens now? Because of the encroachment, what happens? These animals will look for some other alternatives, so they move to some other places, and unfortunately they come into the regular habitats of the humans. So that is how the man-animal conflict begins. Because of one person this begins, and that will affect different kind of people, both from the wildlife as well as from the human life too. And the other important reason, major dependent on the forest produce. So when we focus on major forest producers, what happens ultimately? We have to focus on them, and that may lead to deforestation and many other things. And climate change is also one of the other issue. So these are the major reasons why we are seeing a kind of human-animal conflict. Okay, now moving ahead with the interesting scheme, that is one family, one job. So this one family, one job scheme, which makes it very clear that every person in a family will be provided with a government job. Now, what is this? This is interesting, isn't it? Now, who is bringing this? So it was announced by the government of Sikkim, where it says that every family in the state of Sikkim will be given one government job. But there is a condition. If already in any family, if there is a person who is already working with the government, then that particular family will not be eligible, but others will be done. So initially, they will be taken on a contractual basis. Later on, after 5 years, they will be regularized. And no other state has ever brought a scheme like this in the country. So Sikkim is the first state which has announced to come up with a scheme like, one family, one job. Now, the next one is about the Asian Waterbird Census. So this is very, very interesting again. So before we go ahead with the Asian Waterbird Census, we must know what is a wetland. So wetland, what is a wetland? So wetland is an ecosystem. Wetland is an ecosystem where that will be filled with, it is terrestrial ecosystem filled with water. So that might be a floating water or that might be a static water. We don't care what sort of water is. For example, let's consider this as a land. So now this is filled with water. Now this is a wetland ecosystem, where it is an interaction of two ecosystems, that is the terrestrial ecosystem and the aquatic ecosystem. Now, so okay, having understood this particular area, now what is this Asian Waterbird Census? So Asian Waterbird Census is one of the largest program which was started in the year 1987. What is the objective of this? That is what I'm asking. So the main objective is that they want to understand what is the status. They will understand, they will monitor what is the status of the wetlands as well as waterbirds in different kind of countries in Asia. So we already have something called International Waterbird Census, and this is a part of that. Okay, so this International Waterbird Census will be coordinated by the Wetlands International, and we will be understanding this in better. So now, what is the relation between the waterbirds and wetlands? So generally, these waterbirds generally comes to those places where the health of the wetlands is very good. Now, if we understand that the health of a wetland is so good, what happens ultimately? The waterbirds will be coming in a great number. So which makes it very clear, with the amount or with the number of the waterbirds coming into particular wetland, we can judge about what is the health and how is the health of this wetlands. And with this information that is being generated, we will identify which are the wetlands which need some greater importance, which are the wetlands which need some less importance, and we can take up the conservation measures accordingly. Okay, so with this, what they want to give information to the people. The information they want to give the people is that, for example, earlier there were about 1,000 birds visiting a particular wetland called A. Now, if that has been reduced to 200, which clearly states that there has been a greater difference, there is a greater fall, which is indicating the fall in the health of this particular wetland. So with this, they will create some kind of awareness to the people about, this is the problem we are facing, so we have to do our best for protecting our wetlands. Okay, that will be done by this particular aspect. Now, apart from this, what else happens? So generally, these birds will be coming in winters, especially for breeding purpose. So we often see this for Flamingo Festival in Andhra Pradesh. So all these are the case of that. So with this, we can understand how is the wetlands condition, and we can understand in better way about this. So now ultimately what happens? So we can protect the wetlands, and we can understand more about the people. We can understand more about the water birds also. And this in India is coordinated by the Bombay Natural History Society and Wetlands International. And the first day, like when it was happening, the first day indicated that there is an increase in the number of birds that were coming to this particular wetlands, which clearly indicates that there has been a greater progress with respect to the health of the wetlands. Now, moving ahead with the next one, that is Voter Awareness Forum. Now, what is this Voter Awareness Forum? So before we go ahead, so voter awareness, they will create the awareness to the voter. That is a general thing, right? So before we go ahead with the Voter Awareness Forum, there is something we have to discuss called Electoral Literacy Club. Now what happens under this Electoral Literacy Club? So this will become a platform where the students from the school level will interact with different kind of issues, and some different kind of activities will be coming up. They will be brought up by the Election Commission, and with this particular activities, the students will be able to understand what are the voting rights, and they will be aware completely about what is the electoral process and how do we have to do it, like how to choose a candidate, how to vote for a candidate. Okay, this was launched in the year 2018 on 25th of January. So that is called as Electoral Literacy Club. So the government earlier said that has to be set up in every school, every educational institution, so that the people will have some better awareness. They can register for that voting process, and they can they can vote also. It will create awareness to the people. Okay. Now apart from that, this electoral literacy clubs will also be happening at some rural areas, so where there will be rural communities. So this is called as Chunav Pathshala. So they create awareness about the importance of a vote. How do you have to choose a candidate, the process of voting, and everything will be done under this particular electoral literacy clubs. So Election Commission of India these days is focusing on coming up with this kind of Chunav Pathshalas at every booth of the polling station. So which creates awareness to the people, and they can vote in a better way. So accordingly, a separate books have been developed for the students belonging from class 9 to class 12, so that they were very well acquainted about this particular electoral process. That is other important thing. And these members, whoever be a part of this electoral literacy clubs, they'll be doing different kind of activities which creates much interest among this particular students. The objective is very simple. From a normal voter, we have to become an empowered voter. That is the important aspect of this electoral literacy clubs. Okay, now recently Election Commission of India has decided that they want to set up the voter awareness forums. So voter awareness forums are creating awareness to the voter about the value of vote and why do a person have to vote. So they said that this kind of voter awareness forums have to be set up in every government ministry, any department, any government department. All these have to be done so that they can create an awareness to the voters. And this voter awareness forum is itself a part of the electoral literacy clubs. So that is why we have discussed about the electoral literacy club, and then we have covered the voter awareness forum. Now, moving ahead with the next topic, that is Sakhi centers. This is an interesting one again. Now, in India, we have seen many cases of domestic violence. And there are different kind of cases like crimes against women. Now what happens is, when women face some kind of issue like this, they need a support. And what sort of support do you think? That is not just a legal support, or that is not just a health support, but it also requires some kind of social support, some kind of psychosocial support. Now we have to give them a strength which will make them stronger. That is the thing we need. So for this kind of purpose, Government of India has launched something called Sakhi centers, which are also called as one-stop centers. So these are the governmental scheme, like it is a centrally sponsored scheme which is under the Ministry of Women and Child Development. As part of this, they'll provide different kind of services to those particular women who are affected with the violence. So that might be the medical case, legal, psychosocial, or at the same time they also provide a temporary shelter including the police help. So in India, as of now, we have about 234 one-stop centers, and the government has already proposed to come up with about 485 more one-stop centers. And for the past few years, as per the government of India, for the past few years, these one-stop centers have helped about 190,000 women across the country. That is something, a great achievement done by these one-stop centers. Now, what happens? For example, a victim, a person has faced some kind of domestic violence. Now, immediately, she can come and reach out to these one-stop centers. She comes here and reach out to them. And then they will be giving different kind of options to the women. And one such option is what sort of the option do you need? They will be giving that particular options to the women, and she can choose whatever the option she need. And now, if they want to compromise, if the husband and wife wants to compromise, both husband as well as wife will be made to sit together. They will be counseled about the process. And then after the counseling is done, if they both want to be together, if the wife wants to go back to the home, then both of these people have to sign an agreement letter at the one-stop center, and this woman will be sent back. And this does not end here. No one can give a guarantee that once a woman is sent back, can we give a guarantee that she won't be tortured once again? So there will be a follow-up process for that, which will conduct the follow-up. Okay. Now, the other case about the rape issues. So if a woman comes to the one-stop center saying that she was raped. Now generally, the first and the foremost thing what happens is, firstly the center in charge will talk to her and ask her what exactly happened, and then a counselor will be coming up and examine what exactly happened and what was the issue. Now, according to the records of the National Crime Record Bureau, especially for the year 2015, the place of Ajmer in Rajasthan has recorded about 1,303 cases, and of this, 60% are either by the cruelty by husband or his family, which is nothing but a kind of domestic violence. Right? So, of all these cases of domestic violence, the most important method which has helped all these people is the compromise. Compromise is the one which has helped all the people. So, generally what happens when there is a compromise? Definitely there will be a follow-up. And yes, even after the follow-up, that has been revealed that almost whatever the compromise cases that have been done, they have been doing well as of now. Moving ahead with the next one, that is Global Housing Technology Challenge. Now, this kind of challenge is very, very important to India. When we are looking towards programs such as Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and there are different kind of states which are coming up with their own housing schemes. Now, when you want to develop the houses in such a way, there are lakhs of houses we have to construct. Now, if we still construct the houses based on the traditional methods, that will take years to complete. The term of one government will not be sufficient to construct that many number of houses. So recently, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs has started some challenge called Global Housing Technology Challenge. So as part of this, different kind of stakeholders who are involved in the construction industry, they have to identify some construction technologies that are present across the world and choose those which are of greater relevance in Indian perspective. So they will be choosing that based on some kind of challenge, and once that is chosen, these people who are participating in the challenge, they have to deliver, how many of the people are delivering more number of houses. So in less time, more number of houses along with some better quality. Okay, so this is a challenge now. So in less time they have to come up with this. What happens with this now? Ultimately, we are adopting some interesting technology which is of greater relevance to India. Okay, now once that is done, six winners will be chosen, and they will be given a project to build 1,000 houses particularly to each particular winner. Okay, so it will be having three components. So as part of the challenge, the first one will be they'll conduct a grand expo cum conference which will showcase different kind of technologies we have, and then they will choose this particular technologies and demonstrate them. And moreover, in the last, they will set up some incubation centers at some selected IITs, and this incubation centers will further lead to the development of this particular project. Okay, so for all those 6 winners who have been chosen, they will be provided with an amount of rupees 150 crore as a technology innovation grant, so that they have to construct about 6,000 homes, because 6 winners have to construct 1,000 homes each, which leads us to 6,000. So for each house, apart from this, the state government will be contributing an amount of 1,50,000 rupees, and the central government will be contributing 2,50,000 rupees for each house. Okay, moving on with the last topic for today, that is government e-marketplace. Now I think everyone knows about the government e-marketplace, which is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So, and as part of this, the various government ministries and departments use this portal as for different kind of procurement of the goods. Now what happens when we can procure of goods from this particular aspect? There will be much transparency. There will be no third party involved. That will lead to transparency. And whatever the procurement that is done, that is being done at a faster pace. And this particular government e-marketplace works under the Directorate General of Supplies and Disposals. Okay, so this will become a cashless, this will become a paperless one. So why are we talking about the government e-marketplace today? Because recently an initiative called Womania on GEM has been started, where women entrepreneurs and self-help groups, whatever they are preparing, be it the handlooms, be it the textiles or anything they are preparing, they'll be putting them in the government e-marketplace, which will be directly sold to the government ministries and departments. Now ultimately what happens? Women are being encouraged to become an entrepreneur. So we have a sustainable development goal number 5, which clearly states that we have to achieve the gender equality. So through this, we can make and we can empower women as well as girls, and this will create the women entrepreneurs in the country. That is the initiative called Womania on government e-marketplace. Okay, now this government e-marketplace is a 100% government owned company which started in the year 2016. And it has about 7,31,431 product categories till now, and 1,80,862 sellers, and more than 32,000 plus government buyers are using this particular platform. And you can see the sustainable development goal number 5, which we have just taught, that is about the gender equality. So this is about today's class. And so these are the various other courses which I am taking up on Unacademy free platform, and you can download the Unacademy learning app and you can get access to all these courses. And do check the plus plus model of Unacademy, which is a subscription model, which is an interesting one where you can get access to different kind of courses, like which will be a one-stop center for not like one-stop center for the women. And similarly, this Unacademy can also become a one-stop center for your UPSC preparation. So please do check out and do check the courses which I'm making on the Unacademy Plus platform too. Thank you so much and bye.